Storm chasers spotted something interesting
Dude,
orbiting the vortex. At the base of the rotation, a bright pair of lights were seen spinning. At first, the lights do a full circle around the vortex.
Oh, it's a car!
Showing up again, much higher in the air. It was clear that a car was actually running, invisibly being thrown by the tornado. People speculated that it could have been something else, but nonetheless, something large and bright was seen orbiting the tornado.
YouTube, what's up, man? It's your boy, the 1J. Oh, say it with me now. Come on, man. Hey, look. Your boy at like 325 subscribers. Shout out to all y'all on the road to 500. We're gonna get there. I don't know how many times I gotta say it. We're gonna get there. Did the Mayfield tornado? I kept requesting it. I got another request to do this one, the Rolling Fork tornado. Alright, again, shout out to TornadoTRX like we always do. We get those credit who make the videos. We just react to them over here. Hope y'all doing good. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody's health is good. Hope your families are good. Before we watch this video, I want to just say it's I'm still stuck. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't care what political party you you mess with. I don't care what you are. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is in the country where we live in, that our government ain't helping people that need help. The fact that y'all didn't help them people in Mayfield is disgusting. That's crazy. Y'all ain't helped them people. That's ridiculous. I don't care who you vote for, who you like. None of that. It's sick. It's sick, bruh. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out the way. Sad seeing the people lose their lives and stuff like that, and families ruined, and people losing their livelihood, their house. It's also the sentimental thing, man. Some people didn't lose their life, but they lost their house. A lot of memories was probably in that house. Like, it's tough. But we're going to get in this Rolling Fork tornado. Like I said, shout out to TornadoTRX. Shout out to y'all. Subscribe if you're not. But let's get it, man. Rolling Fork tornado.
It's 8:30 p.m. Thousands of people in the town of Rolling Fork, Mississippi are completely unaware of what's coming straight for them.
Oh my God, that's another nocturnal tornado.
Meteorologists were buzzing with anticipation on Tuesday as they spotted a high chance for severe weather developing in the southern United States.
Hey, TornadoTRX, you better have used non-copyright music, my boy.
While not entirely
For
unusual,
real.
the predictions caught the attention of weather enthusiasts and professionals alike. So what was the culprit? Well, a trough was situated in the upper levels of the atmosphere. A trough is basically a long line of low pressure, and it's known for its potential to spawn violent storms and tornadoes. The trough was set to sweep across the country, and by Wednesday, it became clear that something was brewing down south. The Storm Prediction Center, or the SPC, issued an enhanced risk warning, a level 3 out of 5, around the Louisiana and Mississippi border. A rare move by the SPC to release such a warning so early. Though it hinted at a storm, the actual danger remained uncertain. Unfortunately, the people in the region
hey, send me the warning early. Better safe than sorry.
soon learned just how severe the storm was going to be. As the situation developed, the SPC ramped up the warning to a rare moderate risk and an even rarer 15% hatched risk for tornadoes.
Hey.
And to clarify, this didn't mean a 15% chance of tornadoes happening, but rather a 15% chance of a dangerous EF2 plus tornado.
That's something that I've slowly started to learn with that, because I always thought that those percentages, when they showed it, it was saying that's the probability of a tornado, but no, those are high risk probabilities.
25 miles of any
like for high risk tornado.
The increasing likelihood of some sort of tornado outbreak.
Again, your boy knew that.
People began to prepare. Meteorologist Reed Timmer tweeted concerning forecast for Friday, with
even
tornado
after
outbreak possible with
even after all those
strong
tornado
violent
videos.
Tornadoes. This one has a potential for big
all the tornadoes we don't watch. I always thought that was just like probability.
Many residents in the southern states were not paying much attention.
Severe storms at this hour and a real concern tonight over these long track.
Every time there's a storm outside my window, I'm checking.
Throughout the overnight,
y'all got me paranoid. Y'all got me paranoid watching these videos. I'm terrified.
Another day, with many people off to work, Businesses such as the local animal shelter are open and active, with a lost dog being found by the owners a few days prior.
That's sad.
Everything's running as a typical morning would on the ground, but up
Don't tell me
above
they
the
took out the
clouds,
animal shelter.
something menacing is brewing. The air was
Don't
very
show me that.
unstable. A tool meteorologists use, called water vapor imagery, indicated the trough was getting stronger and moving quicker, while warm, moist air from the Gulf was positioned almost perfectly to crash right into it. By around 5 p.m. local time, thunderstorms were quickly maturing in Louisiana. The unique aspect of these storms is that although they are currently quite chaotic, they are all spaced out, and they're full of energy, creating perfect, powerful environments for something bad to occur. All they needed to do was maintain momentum to the east, where they could hit favorable conditions to start spinning. When storms start spinning, you consider that a supercell, and what makes it super is rotation. When a storm rotates, extreme weather anomalies occur, like hail, bursts of wind and floods, very powerful lightning,
that crazy?
and of course, tornadoes. A tornado watch was issued at 5:15 p.m., covering an enormous stretch of land between Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Judging by how disorganized the setup was, people were slowly getting antsy about if anything was actually going to happen. The storm still needed to move into an ideal spot of low pressure, but it was impossible to tell if they actually would. Additionally, moisture and heat energy that supercells strive on was diminishing as the sun set. That was until one particular supercell became notable.
For this particular cell. Again, very close to Highway 1 here.
The intriguing supercell soon became menacing as it visibly expanded and was rapidly spinning, producing large-size hail and rain. Based on radar data, the National Weather Service decided to issue a tornado warning. This large tornado warning stretched multiple counties across Mississippi, but that supercell hadn't actually spawned a tornado yet. Even still, the radar showed a rotation signature, or a tight point where two contrasting wind directions meet. This essentially shows extremely fast rotational motion. At this point, it was literally a matter of minutes before the supercell would produce something.
I'm getting anxious.
At 7:57 p.m., a debris signature occurs on the top of the velocity signature. This blue dot here is part of a measure called the correlation coefficient. It essentially shows things that aren't supposed to be in the clouds. And since the color is very different, it's currently signifying things like trees, dirt, and even chunks of people's homes. This was unmistakably the start of a tornado. The very weak tornado started in the middle of farms, tearing up nothing more than a couple of crops. Soon, it crossed its first major road, Egremont Street. As if driven by some sort of supernatural force, the messy, weak vortex gained intensity with an alarming speed, first turning into a barrel shape before morphing into a tornado wider than it's tall. Storm chasers were now here capturing images of the tornado and cross-referencing this footage along with damage analysis. We can predict the tornado's inner funnel was over a quarter-mile wide at this point, with its damaging wind field stretching over half a mile. Experts consider this a wedge tornado. The combination of both storm chaser sightings and destruction evident from radar imagery prompted the National Weather Service to issue a very rare tornado emergency around a small town northeast of the storm. This town was Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Right now, the tornado was almost completely invisible to the naked eye. As heavy rain mixed with the pitch black sky obstructed it from any view. By 8:05, the tornado crossed its first residential area, a stretch of 3 homes along Ending Bar Road. An electrical transformer explodes, producing a large blue light, also known as a power flash. This was the first sign the tornado was both in an inhabited area and also causing damage so violent it was literally ripping metal apart. This home on Ending Bar closest to the core of the tornado has its roof completely torn off, but the tornado is still intensifying. The projected path of the tornado had it technically skewing northeast, where it would only brush the edge of residential areas and not even make a direct hit through the town. However, just after crossing Ending Bar Road, the tornado deviated more to the east, setting up for a perfect impact on the Indian Bayou subdivision. The tornado was only strengthening from this point forward. It crossed into the road of the subdivision at almost a perfect bullseye, wiping every single home on the street off of its foundation. Trees in this area became so damaged that the literal bark was ripped off.
That is insane. Every time I see stuff like that,
had their paint stripped off, and unfortunately, the The first several indicators of a catastrophic tornado were seen here, with damage to the trees and home in the subdivision being rated EF4, the second highest rating for a tornado. Multiple people were trapped under rubble, and at least 2
Bro,
people
the fact
died
that the
on this
tornado
street alone.
spawned
The
and,
tornado
like,
was
got
just
strong
getting
so
started,
quickly.
however. From these homes, 2 structures across the highway were
eye is
impacted
bugging
and
me,
completely
y'all. I'm sorry.
destroyed. The tornado was moving so quickly at this point that debris it picked up from the structures was being slammed into homes not even in the direct path.
That's
This debris
crazy.
would completely destroy the roofs and walls of these homes. The edge of the town
Yo!
itself was getting closer and closer, and unfortunately, the carnage seemed to only continue. As the first street here of the town was impacted, every one of the over 27 homes sustained intense damage. At one point, the vortex lofted up a semi-truck here
Look
before
at
slamming
that.
the vehicle into the home of the Pierce family. The truck instantly killed both Lonnie and Melissa Pierce, beloved members of the community. At the same time, storm chasers spotted something interesting
Dude, look
orbiting
at
the
that.
vortex. At the base of the rotation, a bright pair of lights were seen
that a
spinning.
car?
At first, the lights do a full circle around the vortex.
Oh, it's a
before
car.
showing up again much higher in the air. It was clear that a car was actually running and visibly being thrown by the tornado. People speculated that it could have been something else, but nonetheless, something large and bright was seen orbiting the tornado as
No.
it entered the town's edge. Even though the town had barely been hit yet, hundreds of homes had already been decimated before the tornado had even finished intensifying. The tornado's path deviated north slightly before crossing onto Collette Avenue. Here, multiple brick structures were torn to rubble, and the core of the tornado began to suck the grass out of the dirt. Hundreds of storm chasers captured images and video of the tornado at this point, and the absolute mammoth of a size that it was. But something they also noticed was the speed. The tornado was moving at a speed of over 50 miles per hour, with wind speeds of up to 190 miles per hour. For context, an EF5 tornado, the highest on the scale, has speeds of 200 miles per hour, which means this tornado was only 10 miles per hour away from being the strongest tornado possible. 2 metal industrial buildings on the edge of the tornado's path looked more like a nuclear explosion site than a tornado. And of course, it hadn't even made it past the center of the city yet. 12 people died before the tornado crossed Deer Creek into the heart of Rolling Fork, Mississippi. Here, it would cause its most catastrophic damage yet. The town's water tower is torn out of the ground and bent in half like a
The fucking water tower? What video did we watch? We watched a video where a car literally got thrown into a water tower, or like a truck got thrown into the water tower and dented it. This shit took out a water tower? Dispatching brick homes? This.
Hopstick. The concrete the tower was bolted to is crumpled and bent. Multiple large semi-trucks and 18
What?
wheelers are picked up, twisted and mangled, and then slammed into homes
This
and
tornado
buildings
was
at
crazy.
highway speeds. 200 feet away from the water tower is the home of Damian Harris. Damian was aware of the weather, but was out of town for work while his parents stayed at his home. A couple hours prior, Damian's mom called him, telling him to stay at work as
Man.
the weather was getting significantly worse. Because of this call, he stayed, but by the time the tornado was over his home, he began increasingly concerned over his mother because of her lack of response. This lack of contact prompted him to rush back to Rolling Fork, but unfortunately, debris from the water tower, paired with the extremely strong winds, completely destroyed his home before he could get there. His father's back was severely broken, and his mother tragically passed away before
Oh, they were at home. Never mind. I was about to say, hey, that man got saved. Oh, not his mom's, dude. That's. Then his dad's back was broke. Man. Not his mom, bro. I'm a mama's boy. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. That's. Nah, man. That's. Damn, man. Last thing his mom did was save her son. Man. And then, like, as a son, I would feel like he couldn't help but feel like, man, maybe if I would have just got there and stuff. Like, he probably thought about scenarios where he's like, I could have saved them. He probably did, even though it's not his fault. It's not your fault, man. But I can't help but feel like I would have thought that way.
While this was just one instance, the tornado was basically covering the entire town, and the same tragic story was being repeated for almost every single home there. Around the block, the town's animal shelter, with dozens of animals inside,
No, I said at the beginning too, not the animals too,
collapsed to a pile of rubble. The damage here was marked as total destruction of an entire building. 2 buildings next to the shelter are also wiped away, with nothing remaining, ironically including the town's funeral home. From here, hundreds of homes continue to be severely damaged, destroyed, and horrifically killing multiple people. A section of the town populated...
So you didn't mention, I'm guessing all the animals died. That's tough.
By many businesses is the next victim. Multiple well-built businesses are ripped to shreds, including Chuck's Dairy Bar, multiple industrial and construction buildings, and actually most compelling of all being a Family Dollar, which marks the point of the tornado's worst destruction. The Family Dollar was so violently ripped away, nothing remained of the building.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all,
in which it stood on. A similar effect happened to the Dairy Bar. However, it was not nearly as well constructed of a building and had a much worse rating. A storm chaser here was injured as well, and his car was completely totaled after he miscalculated the trajectory and ended up in the direct path. By 8:06 p.m., the last victims of Rolling Fork were now being impacted by the tornado. Devastatingly, a large mobile home park with dozens of residents was hit straight on at peak speed, turning the once nice neighborhood into a junkyard. Dozens of people were killed in their homes.
The damage?
The tornado finally exited Rolling Fork at 8:10 p.m.
The damage?
Calculations provided that all of this destruction and every fatality in the completely destroyed city was done in 3 minutes. That's right. All of the fatalities.
This shit ran through that quick and smoked everything. Yeah, the wind speeds in that tornado was crazy. Because we've seen a lot of tornadoes not do as much damage to certain areas because of the speed it was going. The fact this ran through a town in 3 minutes and did that, this shit had to be at 5. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in thinking that?
All of the destruction, 3 minutes.
This had to be at 5.
3 minutes after Rolling Fork, the tornado went through completely rural terrain. It looked to be the end of the horror, as radar imagery showcased a much weaker tornado than before. Well, at least, that's what the residents of Silver City.
Silver City, y'all got hit too?
Silver City was a small community northeast of Rolling Fork, and it was now in the direct path.
The Rolling Fork
tornado
had the most
was
damage.
placed, and Silver City, while much smaller than Rolling Fork, was primarily inhabited by very poor civilians, most of whom lived in mobile homes.
Hey man,
one
we
of the
already
worst
deal with
possible
enough
structures to be in during a tornado.
I
As
ain't
the
poor,
twister approached,
but I used
the
to be.
intensity of rotation on the
I
velocity
grew up
scans looked ludicrous. The tornado
not
wiped
having
through
much.
the town and obliterated almost every
That's why I appreciate
home
the
in
little
community.
things.
Luckily, after
Like
that, it weakened
325
immensely,
subscribers.
and the worst damage it produced after Silver City was the shattering of
appreciate the little
windows
things
and
in
some
life,
occasional
man.
roof
Fact, you
damage
gotta
along
like.
the homes situated by highways before it disappeared into the trees. 22 fatalities were estimated by 11:10 p.m. and immediately after the tornado subsided, search and rescue efforts began. Multiple storm chasers flooded in as essentially first responders. One man was trapped under the rubble of his home for 30 minutes before a group of rescuers heard his screams and dug him out. As many realized both hospitals were destroyed in Rolling Fork, the University of Mississippi's Medical Center partnered with police to establish a temporary field hospital at the town's National Guard. All that was left to do was wait until sunrise. For most, March 24th was just another Friday, but for the citizens of Rolling Fork, it will be remembered as the day thousands of lives were demolished, ruined, and devastated as a tornado destroyed an entire town. As of today, Rolling Fork has been visited by the president as well as hundreds of volunteers and donors. And while the town will rebuild, it probably will never be the same. But residents of Rolling Fork are choosing to look at the bright side. Satellite imagery shows that the day after the tornado, hundreds of cars built up across the streets to help out. If you want to donate to Rolling Fork, Mississippi, there'll be a link below providing all the necessary details. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe.
Hey, Shout out to TornadoTRX. Y'all see him? Go subscribe to the guy. He be making go to videos. Again, we just react to him. This tornado, although it was not long, my goodness, bro, that junk ran through a city in 3 minutes. You know how fast that is to go through a city in 3 minutes? Man, you ain't going through no city in 3 minutes. That's insane. I don't think, like, you gotta put that in perspective. 3 minutes to go through a freaking city, bro, is... I don't even know what kind of speed that is. But that's... Because it's different. Like, obviously, when you're driving, you know, you got roads and stuff. That straight shot. Just... I'm going right past your city. 3 minutes is still crazy. Yeah, that, man. Shout out to whoever recommended the video. This was crazy. I didn't know about this tornado. Man, it had to be an F5, right? Let me know in the comments. You know, prayers for those who were lost. Sad about the animals. I'm sad for Damien and his mom, bruh. And his dad broke his back. I hope his dad's better now. Man, that one was tough. Yeah, man. All the lives that ruined the houses. I hope they're better now. I don't know what year this happened. If he said it earlier in the video, he probably did. Your boy didn't pay attention. That's terrible. It's terrible on my part. I'm still like just thrown off with the damage. I feel like this was very recent. Like, not, you know, I think 21, 22, 23, somewhere around this time. I think this was fairly recent. But yeah, that's, man, that's crazy. Why Mississippi be getting done in the worst way? Y'all be getting done bogus. Good Lord. But yeah, man, look, it's your boy J.O. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Recommend me anything else if y'all got something. I'm out.